Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday afternoon conference call with Trusts Unlimited. This is Jim George speaking. I'm the non-attorney spokesman and facilitator for Trusts Unlimited. I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to this call, particularly those of you calling in for the first time, and those that will be listening to the replay over the next 24 to 48 hours. Unfortunately, this will be an extremely short call this afternoon. As many of you know, our offices are in East Tennessee, Knoxville. However, you may have learned that there was a tragic tornado that hit Nashville actually the night before last. Unfortunately, there were 24 dead, at least a dozen still missing. My daughters live in Nashville, and unfortunately, one of my daughters was involved in the tornado. So I'm there to assist her. Fortunately, she is fine, but her home is in very bad shape. All the windows are blown out. Glass shards are everywhere, along with trees and other debris, both in and outside of the house. So for obvious reasons, I need to be here to assist her. I will touch briefly on what's going on in Iraq today, but I strongly suggest those of you listening for the first time or that may be listening to the replay will go to our last call of Wednesday, February 26th, because that call, of course, has all of the information about Trusts Unlimited and the services that we're providing those of you that have the dinar and these other currencies. But getting back to the situation in Iraq, as I'm sure many of you know, Alawi has resigned. He was the prime minister designate in charge, along with the parliament, for the caretaker government. So one way to look at the situation is not a lot has changed. The parliament, through the President of the Republic, will be appointing a new Prime Minister designate. He will subsequently then try to put a cabinet together. He has the President of the Republic has 15 days to appoint a new Prime Minister, who will then subsequently have 30 days to bring his new government to the Parliament for a vote. So we're looking at another 45 days. I know this is disappointing, but again, because we were dealing with a caretaker government and they have set aside new elections for the time being, we shouldn't lose that much time. With regard to the CBI operations, their plan is, of course, to cease and desist with the auctions. The project to delete the zeros is in place. They're prepared for the release of the lower denoms from the 8 regional banks. But in order for that to occur, they need final passage of the 2020 budget. And in order for that to occur, we need to get the government in place. Now, I am going to try to be positive about this. There is a distinct possibility that all of this can get accomplished over the next 45 days. The rub still remains and continues to remain the fact that there are still corrupt officials within the government of Iraq, and there is still undue influence, including bribes and even threats from the Iranians. Now, the UN, the IMF, and the United States are putting continued pressure on Iraq. Of course, the UN is continuing to threaten to place Iraq back in Chapter 7. The IMF is threatening to make them remain for the time being in Article 14. And the U.S. is threatening to reinstitute the sanctions against Iraq for circumventing the sanctions against Iran. In addition, the government was forced to go ahead and make payments, salaries to certain employees. Now, expenditures at the 1180 rate creates extreme complications for the budget, and in a worst-case scenario could push the budget all the way to January of 2021. I don't think we're there yet for the simple reason that the payments made thus far are intragovernmental payments, not the distribution of the oil revenues or major payments to international contractors. So I'm still hopeful that this is an unfortunate postponement, but I still think that we're looking at 30 to 45 days for the reinstitution of the dinar. So again, I'm sorry I'm cutting the call short. For reasons that I've explained, I've got to be here in Nashville with my family, and I would again suggest that those of you that are contacting Trusts Unlimited for the first time, go to our recorded call. You can either go to YouTube or IQD calls and just pull up our recorded call from last Wednesday, February 26th, to get all of the information about Trusts Unlimited, including getting our initial no-obligation package, which you can review and then contact us if you have any questions. I look forward to speaking with you all again next week. For the next couple of days, for the reasons I've explained, I will be in Nashville. But I still believe that we have a better than 50-50 chance of getting this reinstitution done in the next 30 to 45 days, because the pressure that's being put on Iraq is substantial. The only other thing I would add is, and I have no way of knowing whether or not this is true, this is just scuttlebutt that I have heard, but I cannot confirm. But the Iranians are not only having problems with the coronavirus, but it has infected their mullahs, including the supreme leader. And my understanding is that they've been told that if they do not cease and desist their interference in the affairs of Iraq, that certain of their nuclear sites and oil fields are in jeopardy. Frankly, I hope that's the case. I think we have to stop playing games with the Iranians. They've made it clear that they do not intend to behave like a normal nation. And so as a result of that, I don't think they should be treated with the respect and the sovereignty of a normal nation. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's hope over the next week that things start to resolve themselves. Of course, if something of a dramatic nature were to happen between now and next Wednesday, we'll try to get out an emergency email and schedule an emergency conference call. But we will be watching the situation very closely, and we do plan on being back next Wednesday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for calling, and we hope you have a great week.